Hey everyone, it's spring. I decided to give my truck a makeover. I took off my old rack, cleaned out the bed, and I bought a Kuat Ibex system, and I'm curious to see if that will allow me more options. It has MOLLE panels on the side, so maybe I can get some of the junk out of my bed and up on the side. We'll see. I don't know. It's an experiment. I have a rooftop tent that I'm going to put on the top. Sometimes I like to take my sea kayak out, so we'll see if that can fit up there as well. I'm the kind of person that a lot of times I really need help. YouTube saves me a lot, so I thought if I'm going to do this anyway, I might as well see if I can help someone else out along the way. Knock on wood that this goes quick and easy. All right, new toys. I have to say, that is really well packaged. It's actually a bit of a work of art. All right, let's see what we have here. The instruction guide. The instruction guide is really a link to the website. Have your phone handy. Box. This is the heavy stuff. This is all the hardware, the nuts and bolts, it sounds like. We've got lots of everything we need on the inside. One thing that I don't know if it recommends, but I know from experience that I want to have is blue Loctite. Something for the rattling of the truck, being out in the desert, being out in the mountains, all that rattling. We don't want anything to come undone. One of the things I was a little worried about at first was, would the crossbars be strong enough? Like, how heavy duty are they? Like, it's solid. Like, I'm very relieved, actually. Yeah, that's a good piece of metal. I like having all of the bolts in their separate things like this. If they're labeled, that might be a little more helpful, but that's okay. Another nice touch is you can see that it has these labels, E, F. We've got all these stickers. I love that. If you have access to a laptop or an iPad, being able to pull up the assembly instructions on here, I think is going to make my life a bit easier. So I'm thrilled with that. In the interest of honesty, I started a timer just to see how long this whole process will take. Wish me luck. For this project, I also included a Crossbar Riser Kit because, as I mentioned earlier, I want to have my rack up off the top of my cab. I'm going to have things going over the top of my cab, so I need it a little bit higher. I don't want it completely in line with my cab. And I'm not quite sure in these instructions at what point I attach this. So I'm going to open this now and see. I don't want to get too far and then have to undo something. Crossbar Riser Kit. I like how these boxes don't have any tape around the outside. It wasn't a big deal just to pull that off. Really high quality machined. It's like machined to a very exacting standard. I don't know if you can see that, but wow. Oh yeah. From the pictures I've seen, I like the MOLLE panel style here. That would be nice. I was excited at first because I have all of these pieces and they're already put together. They're all the parts, you just have to slam them together. And now I'm looking at the instructions and it tells me I have to take covers off, pieces off, and then put it back on later. But it's just more work than I was hoping for. So not loving the fact that I have to do this by hand. If you're in a rush, you're going to be frustrated. So this is the cover that they're saying you take off. My big recommendation is to get socket head drivers to be able to more easily come in and remove these socket plates. I would like to clarify that this is perfect for removing. This big one, the instructions demand that you use a impact drill slamming those big ones together. But with these little bolts, I like the idea of finishing them off by hand. If you don't have an impact driver, you're going to want to get one. You're also going to want one of these to help with your impact driver. The scariest part about this is making sure you have the right elbow with the right length, because they're all labeled. And after you see me slam these two together, you're gonna think, man, I'm thinking, undoing that, if I mess up, will I be able to redo this? Anyway, it's a little nerve-wracking. This is the part that doesn't feel right. It just makes me nervous to have it be this, you know, impacty. I don't think that's coming undone. That is together. Ooh, that's a lot of money to go one way and worry that you can't undo it if you messed up. After you get that part on, now you take these caps and you set them back on. This little one here, this is for that cover. I went and grabbed a torque wrench, and these small bolts that hold on the cover worked for about 5 Newton meters. The big bolts that were going in, locking it all in, needed to be between 16 and 20 Newton meters. All right, I have my 4, I'm calling them the rectangles. These are gonna go on the sides, on the rails of my truck. Those are done. Up next is the crossbars, and they come pretty short. And so you go to the orange and you loosen those. And then this whole thing should slide apart. Ooh, like that. Actually, I'm kind of curious to see how far apart they go. Fully extended, the crossbars are 61 inches. Depending on if you get this other kit, there's going to be one that's taller than the other. You're going to want the one that's about 1 inch in height. And they have a washer on, so don't forget the washer. And you take that and you're going to slide it in. And there's a little notch on both sides, so that's not a problem. So again, you're going to take off the bolt, slide that in. Then you're going to take this piece, and I looked at this for a little while. You can't mess this up. There's only one way to get it to be flush. If I go the other way, things don't quite work. These two can come together tight, and when this comes in, they match up perfectly. So they're in there. This is going to slide in. Don't forget the washer and the Loctite. And you're really doing that 4 times on the top of this whole thing. The next step is an important one. How high do you want your bars to be above the roof of your vehicle? In the instructions, it kind of tells you, but the reality is it's really as simple as raising this up and down. And so if for some reason you don't like the height you're at, it doesn't seem like it's too hard to take the 2 bolts out and just lower it. I'm going to start with the lowest setting myself. I have my inch bolt, slide in there, make sure there's Loctite, make sure there's a washer. There's 2, so I'll do the same thing. Snug it up. All of this we've been leaving loose so that we can adjust later once we get it on the truck. And now we have to put the bars on. And I'm sure there's a better way, but since I had 2 coolers here in the garage that were similar heights and some boxes, we decided to build it up. An easy mistake to make when you slide your T-nuts in, there's a top and a bottom. The one with the orange T-nut, that goes up. So you're going to slide 2 T-nuts in. Have our 1 inch, we want our washer, and we want some Loctite. The next step is we need to attach this to the whole structure. And before I can do that, these two have to go together in two pieces. So one fits inside the other. They have a pretty nice little bolt pattern in there that makes it pretty easy. And you can slide and adjust. We're using a new type of bolt at this point. It's about 1 inch, but it does have a nut on the other end. 2 washers and a nut. We're down to our T-nuts again, but we're going with it's approximately 3/4 of an inch, 16 millimeters. There's the top and there's the bottom. I already slid in over on this side the bottom, so it's already sitting down here in the bottom. And now I've attached this one on top. I am going to attach both sides, get them the right width. You want to make this top section wide enough so that when you bring this back plate, this comes behind your back cab window. This is adjustable. A really important idea is you're leaving everything loose so that you can move it back in and out for it to fit. Day one, it wasn't supposed to be a multi-day process, but we're running out of daylight. I think we're close. But anyway, I just wanted to give you an update on the time. We're at 3 hours and 36 minutes and counting. Well, we're on day 2. Attachment points really depend on the truck you're using. Because I have this track system in the back of mine, I'm going to use a different system than some of you. If you don't have a track system, there's this U shape that slides up under the lip of your bed here. And this universal piece will come down and attach. It ends up attaching to the rack itself. In this case, I'm using the slider system. There's these little plates that slide right in and go forward and back, which is nice. And then this piece will slide down onto it. Regardless of what rail system you're going to be using, a part of the clamping system that will actually attach to the rack, this is universal. You have the ability, the thing with these T-nuts is if you slide them in the wrong way, they don't work very well. In this case, I need to have it vertical, these oriented vertical. I can attach everything, put my Loctite in, and then there's a little hole here that allows me to ride those in to the track system without too much problem. And then you can bring it back and forth and then just let that sit there. Don't forget that you will need to drop this down at some point to connect these two, so don't forget that step. We've got our top clamp first, which is universal. The bottom clamp really depends on the truck that you're using, as we mentioned earlier. In this case, I don't think there's a way to slide this in because it has to go up inside, so we're going to take these apart. Then slide in our bar. Slide that up, in, and then screw. Don't forget your Loctite. Put your washer on. When you have these where you want them, then you drop that down in and connect the two, and that's going to snug up. One thing you want to be aware of is this needs to be flush with this. So as you tighten, you want this whole thing to be snug and flush, and you're going to extend the rack so that it's flush with the side of your truck. The nice thing about these screws, all of them, is they have, I don't know if you can see it. You can see it on this big one probably. It's sort of an anti-theft fastener. Anyone with an Allen wrench just won't be able to come on and just undo your rack. They need to have this special type. So for good or bad, this will prevent a little bit of your worry. If you have this attachment, which is the extender to heighten your rack system, you're going to need to now tighten these down. You're going to probably want something on the nut on the back to hold it in place. And then I'm going to use this. Right. Then the last step for each rack, so you have these two tightened down on each side and you have them the correct distance you want. Then you can set your rack back on and square that all up. Whole truck shaking. I love it. Rock solid. Now, the final step. Is it ever the final step? There you go. Nice. Comes with the correct Allen wrench and all the things you need. This track system is going to accept more T-nuts. We want 3 for the bottom, 3 for the top. This is pretty nice. It sits down right here on the lip. Now I'm just going to put Loctite on my screws and I'm going to screw this in 6 places and we should be good. The final accessory we're going to add today is the Kuat Ibex bottle opener. It's going to go just up here on the side. All right, 2 days and 5 hours later, I feel like I could do it the second time much better. It's one of those projects where the first time you do it, you want to do it right. There's little tricks, you know. Hopefully you've learned something from this video. What do I think overall? Man, I'm excited. I'm a little leery about this, having this side panel, MOLLE panel on both sides, just because I'm so used to being able to reach in and out to grab things. However, it comes on and off so easily. So that's nice. On times when I want a little more security, that can be there. It just depends on the trip. I'm really excited about this rack, how solid it is. Can't wait to get my tent up there. I'll be taking it on trips through the summer. This is the Kuat Ibex, and so far so good.